Hello and welcome to the temporarily available online presentation of the workshop recently hosted about the introduction to the AMCAS system. Now, this is technically an introduction to the AMCAS application. There will be some similarities between it and the dental and physician assistant and other similar central application services, CAS systems as they're called. What they basically are really grown-up common apps. So there will be some similarities, and I will try and discuss those along the way. This is my boilerplate statement that everything I am saying here is for your reference as a get started point. If you have further questions, they should be directed to the Central Application Service as they are the final say on how information is entered and accepted for their programs. We're going to cover the AMCAS application, again, with some of the similarities. We're going to talk about how it works. We're going to talk about some of the important dates and schools that are participating. We're going to talk about the sections of the application and some information that you can still enter even after you have clicked submit. I am also going to briefly discuss the fee assistance program and some additional resources for applying. This is what the AMCAS Central American Medical College Application Service, AMCAS, Centralized Application Service does. It is, again, like the Common App. It collects your information and submits it to the schools in which you are hoping to apply, and here is their website. This is the process through which it works. Just to remind you, once AMCAS has received both your application and has received and verified all of your official required transcripts, your application will enter the verification queue. AMCAS then verifies the coursework you entered against the transcript you submitted, how it is listed on your official transcript, and it will calculate your normalized GPA. Now, before you get up in arms about normalizing the GPA, this could still work in your favor. Remember that you may be going up against students who are applying from schools who not only have the plus-minus system, but may also have A pluses in their system. There are also students who have straight A's and B's without the pluses or minus, so this is a normalization so that everybody is on a bit more common ground. Once the application is verified or processed, you may see those words used interchangeably. I may use them interchangeably throughout this presentation, which can take about 6 weeks. AMCAS will deliver the application to the medical schools you designated. Letters of evaluation, once assigned to medical schools, are delivered electronically on a rolling basis. Remember that you can submit your application prior to your letters and transcripts being received. Letters are not required to verify an application, though transcripts are. Here is the website for AMCAS application so that you can sign in. Here are some of the pertinent dates. It will open on Tuesday, May 3rd, and you'll be able to start submitting your applications on Tuesday, June 7th. At that point, they'll also start verifying applications as they come in, but initial transmission of applicant data to medical schools won't be until June 24th. This gives everybody about a month to verify a bunch of applications before sending any to the medical schools, and it's the only time they send anything in batches. After June 24th, everything will be sent as it is verified. The delay is also to give everybody who took May exams time for their scores to be posted so that everybody who took April-May exams will all be within that first batch. Here are some of the deadline dates. Early decision doesn't really apply because for North Carolinians because we do not have a strong early decision program. Remember the application deadlines. You should not be thinking in terms of deadlines. You should be thinking how soon you can get your stuff in. There are 144 schools and programs that participate in the application service. So all MD programs in the U.S., with the exception of Texas Public Schools, they have something called TMDSAS, Texas Medical and Dental School Application Service. So they have their own application. This also doesn't apply to AMCAS, DO, osteopathic schools. They have their own application service. But there are a lot of similarities between AMCAS and AMCAS. The letter service, 142 schools participate, and criminal background checks, a huge chunk also now participate. These are the sections of the MCAT. MCAT, I'm so sorry, AMCAS, identifying information, schools attended, biographic, coursework, work and activities, letters of evaluation, medical schools, and essays, and then standardized tests. And we're going to go through each of these in detail with a little more detail focused on the coursework, because that is the one that is probably going to be the bulk of your effort during this entry process. Here is the main login page. Only create a new account if you have never accessed the AAMC system before. If you have registered for an MCAT, if you have registered for the fee assistance program, if you have registered for an SMDEP program over the summer, then you should already have an AAMC ID number. Do not create a second one, because even though we know it's just human error, that is a flag for medical schools as possible fraudulence. This is a screenshot of the main menu in the AMCAS application. This page is always just a click away from anywhere in the application by clicking in the main menu button in the top right. The sections of the application are accessible from both the horizontal bar at the top and the list in the center of the page. You can access the application sections from the top horizontal bar or as they are listed in the center. You can only access certain sections once you have completed others. For example, you cannot complete the coursework section until you have listed your schools in the schools attended section. Check the status of your application, your letters of evaluation, and transcripts received on the left-hand side of the application by clicking that Details button. Print the letter request form and transcript request forms from this screen. The sections automatically display complete or incomplete based on whether all the required fields in that section have been filled in. The action buttons on the right become active when certain information has been entered into the application. Your application status is always displayed in the left column, and clicking on the Details link will provide more information on what that status means, as well as detailing the status of transcripts and letters. Here's your identifying information. It is composed of much of the information you entered during registration, so some of these fields are pre-populated. Make sure everything is correct and also include any school-issued ID numbers. For UNC, that would be your PID, which will help AMCAS match your transcripts to your application. Here's the schools attended page. In this section of the application, you are required to enter information about any post-secondary institutions you have attended, regardless of credit earned or transferred. What that means is even if it shows up on your UNC transcript as transfer credit, that other institution is technically the credit granting institution, and you still have to get a copy of their transcript submitted to AMCAS, and you still have to put that institution as one you attended. A little bit trickier matter is if you went somewhere else over the summer, registered for classes, and then ended up withdrawing because you did not want to complete the summer or plans changed. Even if you withdrew from a semester at an institution, you still have to get a copy of that transcript. Even if you did not complete the classes, you still have to get a copy of that transcript and discuss that withdrawal. Not necessarily disclose that withdrawal. This is also where you will decide whether to release your application information to school designated advisors. That's me. I ask that you please do this so that I can see information regarding the application cycle as it unfolds. Here's the other slide about the schools attended. You'll also determine which official transcripts are required by AMCAS, and you can request exceptions to those that are not required, though this is rare. Most transcripts are going to be required, with the exception of potential foreign transcripts through a study abroad program, and we're going to discuss study abroad instances in more detail in a second. Biographic information. This is pretty self-explanatory, so we're going to leave it at that. This is a reminder that there is now a new designation status, the Deferred Action, DACA. So if you meet those requirements, they may be a little more complicated in regards to listing your state and country residency, but there are people on staff now that is designation available through AMCAS to help you navigate that. Coursework. This is the fourth section, and it's typically the one that takes the most time to complete. You'll see the schools you entered in Section 2 are shown here in the schools attended box, and you'll enter information about all the courses that you took at this school. There are links in this section also to video tutorials that demonstrate how to enter some of the different types of coursework you might have, such as study abroad or AP. For each course ever taken at a post-secondary institution, regardless of whether credit was earned, remember what I said earlier, you'll fill in the information with the course, including academic year and term, the year in school, the course number and name, the grade or symbol on the transcript if applicable, and the credit hours shown on the transcript if applicable. You will indicate if there was a lab associated with the course and choose any applicable special course type by using the checkboxes. AMCAS and I recommend that you get a copy of your complete official transcript from the registrar so that you can put information into this field exactly as it appears on the transcript that AMCAS will be using to reference and verify your records. You should, if there is ever any doubt, put it exactly how it appears on your transcript into AMCAS. The one exception to that is if, with our courses, Old Biology 252 before the lab was separated from the course when it was just the 4 and 0, but we know there was a lab attached. Everybody knows what this is like with physics, whether you did 104 and 105 or 114 and 115, you know that it's the 4 and 0. Only 4 credits show up, but that lab is included. So you would put Physics 1 and lab, or Physics 1 with lab, Anatomy and Physiology with lab. Those are the only deviations from what is exactly printed on your transcript that I ever recommend you making. Abbreviate it as wonkily as you have to. Whatever shows up on your transcript, that's what you put in AMCAS. You must also put any AP credit or credit by exam that shows up on your transcript for UNC. You would not put your AP credit if you took it and made a 3, but UNC needed a 4 for it to count. That AP credit doesn't go, but if it counts on your UNC transcript, it should go on your AMCAS application. Remember that if you end up repeating a class, no matter what the policy, if you took it somewhere else and repeated it and they said that that erased the original grade, for medical schools and AMCAS, that's not true. Medical schools will see everything and it will average into your AMCAS application. You must assign each course a classification, biology, fine arts, philosophy, etc., based entirely on its primary content, not necessarily its course prefix. Now, I have this question all the time from, say, my EXSSers or my psychology majors. Does this count for my science GPA? Well, the answer is, as you all know, my favorite, yes, no, maybe. Say for my EXSS students, yes, your anatomy and physiology is biological content. It will absolutely count towards your science GPA, but your sports admin probably won't. It definitely won't. Let me take that back. For your psychology people, maybe your Psych 101 doesn't count. It really doesn't count. But your upper level neuropsychology, biopsychology, even probably your psych stat, those are actually science content, even though the prefix may not necessarily indicate that they are science. So you will list them based on what your interpretation, what your accurate and honest interpretation of the course is. So that's when you get your biology, chemistry, physics, math, your BCPM, your science GPA. You'll also have your cumulative GPA, and then you have the post-bac or the graduate. Post-bac might be biomedical certificate, special master's programs. Graduate are full-blown masters in the sciences or masters in public health, full-blown graduate courses. Here's what that's going to look like. This one has a demonstration of what a high school GPA would look like. I don't think any of our students with your AP credit are going to have that shown up. Most of your AP hours are going to be grouped in with your first year hours, your freshman hours. So don't be surprised if your AMCAS GPA does not match your transcript. Here is driving home that point that each course must be assigned a classification based strictly on the primary content of the course, not necessarily the course prefix. Study abroad. This is a complicated one, so we're probably going to get through this, and then I'm going to stop this video and have a part 2 because I don't want to get too in-depth and too long in these videos. I want you to be able to go back and reference things easily, so we'll probably end things on the study abroad. There are multiple kinds of study abroad. If you have what's called the UNC faculty-led, then that is you taking a UNC course with UNC faculty. It just happens to be in another country. It is going to show up on your UNC transcript as a course with hours and a letter grade. If that is the case, then you are fine. That is all you need to do is worry about your UNC transcript. On the other end of that, maybe you went to a foreign country and you only registered at their institution for a straight exchange program. Maybe you took classes at the University of Barcelona, in which case that's going to be a foreign transcript. That's one of the few cases where you could likely request an exemption. Otherwise, you're going to need to get the transcript evaluated by a professional service. There are also some middle grounds for courses taken at a study abroad program that may be sponsored by another U.S. institution. Say you went to Tulane had a program in South Africa, and that's the one you chose to do because that worked better with your budget and your schedule for that summer. And you did it through them, but it's going to be on a Tulane transcript. So it's from an institution of higher education here in the United States. Then you would just get that transcript and have it sent. The same might be true for something like DIS or some study abroad companies, I guess is the right word, study abroad institutions, in which case they could also have an official transcript prepared for you. Now, AMCAS understands that this is an incredibly complicated question because there are so many different kinds of study abroad activities. So they have an AMCAS tutorial specifically on how to enter study abroad. Most of the information that I'm gathering for you right here in this presentation comes from the 2017 AMCAS instruction manual. That course classification page, you don't have to screenshot this. You can go back to the 2017 instruction manual and print that up and, I don't know, stick it to the inside of all of your notebooks and staple one of it to your, roommate's mattress, whatever. Have it everywhere so that you know how to put things in. So these are some additional resources. Like I said, we're about the 15-minute mark, and I usually don't like my videos to go much longer than that. So this is where we will stop, and I will pick back up with the work activities.